what I have here is I have a Akuma Guide Select Pro, Akuma rod, Shimano reel. I used to run Akuma reel as well till it broke, and then I went with the Shimano. You know, Akuma's getting repaired, so until that happens, I'm gonna use this guy. So this right here is 9 feet 9 inches, medium action, fast, 8 to 12 pounds. So two things to know about particularly rod. So medium means backbone, right? So your backbone is how thick and strong your back of your rod is, meaning how much load can you handle, meaning how big of a fish you can have. And then the front is fast, so it stands for F. Fast is how fast this thing gets loaded up, which is this. How fast will it react? So why is that important? Now, if it's the fast action like this, you guys could see it. See, I could see any kind of bite of the rod faster. So if I'm fishing for smaller fish, I could sense that it's biting. Then I could set the hook, or I know what's going on with my spinner or whatever it's dragging down the line. Like if I'm using a rock bouncer or whatever, I could feel the tip of the rod much easier than if it was medium. Now, when you need medium is when you're basically setting a hook, you know, kind of they call it flossing, they call it, you know, you're setting a hook so it doesn't respond as fast. So if you have this for bigger fish and you're trying to do that, it's going to be really frustrating. So this is a long rod. This is what you want out here. The longer the rod, the longer you could cast. The longer the rod, then you could man the line. So what I have here is Shimano 4000. You could go with any kind of thing, but 4,000, 3,000 is ideal. Right now I have 30-pound braid, and the reason I have 30-pound braid is because that's what I use in the rivers. 30 pounds is right in between medium, which is perfect for the fish I catch. It floats, and I could man the line, meaning I could manage the line while it's floating. It's heavy enough to handle heavy fish. It's light enough to basically be manageable, and you could put, you know, the thinner the line, the more line you could put on it. So 30 pounds, followed by mono, which is followed by a uni blood, blood knot, uni blood, whatever you call it. So it's basically a transition from that to this. Then here is what I have. Grab it. So what I have is about 5 feet. I have 2 ounce. This is called the pancake weight. So the pancake weight, how the way it acts, it sinks to the bottom faster, it stays at the bottom, but you can still move slightly. Versus like a pyramid weight, it will sink at the bottom and prevent from rolling. It literally looks like a pyramid. So this is the ideal, what you want to have at the ocean. We're Northwest Pacific Ocean. We're going to be fishing for surf fish. It's 4th of July. It happened that I was available to come out here and enjoy the weather, enjoy the fireworks, and do a little bit of fishing. So this is what you want. I have a dual clip with a swivel. The reason for the swivel is it will, you know, it could swivel and prevent the wrapping of my line going further down the line. And so then a dual is I could swap the weights. I could go from 1 ounce, 2, 3. Ideally what you want is 2. 2 is basically a minimum. Then I have 2 hooks. These hooks pretty easy to make. I have showed you guys how to make them in the live footage, so go out there check them out. This is a sand shrimp, 2 hooks. You want a number 4 somewhere around there, and this is how you kind of want it set up. You want the sand shrimp to go right through the eyelid of the hook and kind of point out the bottom. So what happens is once you cast this thing out there, it'll drop just like that. It'll just drop, and you put a tension. Then you do 1 reel and wait. 1 reel, wait. 1 reel, wait. And what happens too is very interesting too. This fish acts very similar to Perch. Is when you stop, that's when they bite. So 1 reel, and they'll bite, and you'll feel them. You'll feel them bite, and you just pull them in. It's fun. And another key factor, guys, to fish, very important, is the tides. So look up with your tides, where you at. So just type in the location, tide, the ocean tides. And the key for the tides, very, very, very important. It's probably the number one thing I could recommend you guys with the tides. So on the high tide, when you have a high tide, you have about an hour to 2 hours before and after. That's your prime window. So on a high tide, anything from the high going down is your fishing window. So on a high tide, you're fishing anywhere from the high all the way down. So if you're right there with the high tide and going down, there's usually two tides, you know, ideally, but you want to be in the high tide going down, because that's where you're going to catch the most of the fish, about an hour or two on that peak. That's number one key to success, is the high tide going down. 2 hours, your window. Anyways, another thing too, before we get out there, because it's gonna, I didn't bring my mic, it's kind of a little bit windy. It's not that bad for the ocean. This is a piece of cake, but I'm gonna cover the really key important factors here. So when you catch this fish, basically what you want to do, if you guys could see, what they have here is they have these waves, right? So there's waves, and you can see the white, we call it caps. So the white, and the reason it's white is because it's coming towards us, and we could see that it's white. So the wind is blowing that water and the current, the wave towards us, and it's rolling and crashing. And the white, it shows us that it's coming towards us. So you see, like you could see 1, 2, 3 is where they're breaking. And so on the second and third is where you want to kind of manage your casting. So you want to cast it on the second, third, and that's where the fish will ride. So you want to cast it behind that white cap and just slowly reel it. Let it sink and reel it in. That's where you'll catch the most of the fish. What else? What else is pretty important out here? You think of anything?
That's about it.
That's about it. It's just all about coming out here and try it and having fun. Oh, another thing too. I mean, it's common sense, but a lot of people don't know. This is ocean. Very salty, very corrosive, and it will ruin your gear, ruin everything. So no matter what kind of stuff you have, this is not a motion reel. You want to have stainless steel. Even with stainless steel, once you use them, you got to come back home and wash the living crap out of it. And you got to do it right away, the same day. I mean, legitimately, the next day, your reel could be completely toast, seized up, ruined forever. So that's the number one. That's the number two thing I have to tell you guys is come home, unhook all this crap, you know, rinse it in water, a little bit up. I mean, it's super, super, super important. I can't stress enough times. I came out here, I fished, you know, I put my rods away, then I go use them, and they're just completely hosed, done, seized up, just inkers. So that's about it. It's 4th of July, guys. This is you know, it's an Independence Day. Thank you for everybody who served, who made this possible. You know, whoever wants to be fishing, hunting, doing whatever. This is what it's all about. United States, freedoms. Let's not forget about that. Let's not be too liberal. You know, two purple-haired individuals. You know, after all, this is America, and this is the reason you guys have purple hair is because of the people that made it happen. Okay, so whoever's working out there, you know, at the job, service, you know, I've been there. This is in the 10 years, this is my first time being home. So I know the feeling. I know how it is. The sacrifices are real. You know, you got to do what you got to do to provide for the family and everything. So thank you, and let's get out there. You guys will follow me. Hopefully we'll catch some fish, show you guys what's up, how it looks, how fun it is, and just follow me. pancake spinner just tied all over the place. So this one.
What?
Alright, so it's 4th of July and it's Washington here, but even though you guys can see I'm fully geared up, because it's still
Oregon.
Oregon, and it's cold. Standing in the water to start fishing, it just sneaks up on me. So I got some bibs, jacket. Last week I was in Alaska, Arctic Ocean fishing, and I didn't think I felt this cold being out there. It's maybe because it's so deceiving. You get the sun, you're breaking in and out. But yet, you know, I wasn't barefoot in the Arctic Ocean, which I'm here. So, got my gear. Hope they're gonna do another shot because it's freaking cold.
Meanwhile.
Clean your hands, go record some stuff.